Hey guys, I'm Clinton with the Barbecue Pit Stop. Today, we're gonna do a steak. Today we're gonna do this ribeye steak. I just went to my local butcher and I asked for a random cut. With this steak, I'm just going to do a real quick trim. I'm gonna take some of this excess fat here off of the side. Then we're gonna marinate it. Today we're gonna use Blues Hog beef marinade, and then we're going to hit it with a couple of our favorite DB180 seasonings. So with this steak, there's not a whole lot you wanna cut off, maybe a little bit around this side here. Yeah, not a whole lot of what we need to do. I don't like this big chunk of fat, so I am going to take this down just a little bit. Not a whole lot. This fat runs all around it, so I'm not taking everything off, just taking it down a little bit. And then you have what I call a tail sitting here. So I'm going to take the tail off as well. I'll lose a little bit of fat, but for me, it bothers me being on while I'm cooking. So I'm just going to take that tail off. And again, keep trimming around. Not too aggressively. This isn't how I trim for a steak competition. This is just backyard fun stuff. All right, that looks pretty good. This side. And what I'm looking for when I'm trimming is just where it's going to split. So I just take that off. I want to keep that on. All right, that's it. We're not going to get too aggressive. So my marinade is already pre-made. We're just gonna put it in here for 20 minutes. 10 minutes on one side, then we're gonna flip it, 10 minutes on the other side. I'm using the Blues Hog marinade today. All I put in here was water with a 1/4 cup. We're gonna set this in, seal her up, take as much air out as we can, and just let it sit here for about 10 minutes, and then we'll flip it, 10 minutes on the other side. And that's it. We'll come back, we'll get it pat dried, we'll flip it, and we'll get it seasoned up. Our steak has been marinating. We actually had it in here for about 30 minutes, about 15 minutes on each side. We're gonna pull this out, and we're just gonna put it directly on a paper towel. We have it elevated right now. You don't have to have it elevated like this. I had the rack, I like using it, so I'm gonna use it. Now all we're gonna do with this marinade, this is a non-rinse marinade. You just pat dry it, flip it over, pat dry it on the other side. And I'm not wanting to take all of the moisture off of this. A good amount, but not all of it, say about 90%. And then we're gonna start hitting it with our rubs. Today we're gonna use the DB180 sizzling steak and the grill all. We're gonna do a pretty good coat of the sizzling steak. This has a good kick to it. I like it a lot. It's got a nice fine, it's not a real thick, chunky rub. It doesn't have all those, coarse grind, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a real fine grind. We're gonna get all the edges and then just a even coat across the top. A little heavy there. Then we'll flip it, do a nice even coat across the bottom. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the grill all. And we'll let it sit here for about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, until it gets to room temperature. We'll go outside and we'll start up our charcoal, get our charcoal nice and hot, nice and going. Let this sit here, let it sweat a little bit. Let all these flavors kind of meld into the steak. That's it, just a nice couple of even coats, and we're good to go. We'll let this sit here for about 30 minutes. Our steak has been sitting out, getting up to room temperature for about 30 minutes. We're going to use a PK grill. We're going to cook on an offset, and then we'll sear it off over charcoal. I'm going to throw just a couple chunks of peach wood in here, just get a little bit of smoke flavor, not much. And then put this on here on my elevated rack. Today we are going to use the Thermal Works, the square dot. We're just going to probe right here into the middle. Let it sit there and hang out until it gets to about 115 degrees. Then we'll just do a quick sear on both sides. So our steak is at 115 degrees. It's cooking well. We are now going to sear it off over the charcoal. We're looking at about 130, 132 degrees. That will rest up to a medium. First thing we're going to do, directly over the charcoal for about 2 minutes. We let this steak rest for about 10 minutes. There's a lot of juice going on in here, so we're gonna pull this out, and you can see how juicy that is. We're just gonna cut straight across this middle, and this is done to about a medium, has nice juice coming out of it. But we wanted to taste this, so let's start cutting against the grain, get a couple of bites in this, try it out. This is how you do a steak. Kind of an offset over charcoal. You could do this over a Weber, you could use a PK like we did, put the charcoal off to one side, smoke on the other side and then sear it off. It's called a reverse sear. It's got a little pop to it from that sizzling steak rub from DB180. It's got plenty of flavor from the marinade that we did. And a good steak. Your family would be very happy if you guys did one of these steaks. I'm gonna cut me another bite right here.